Today we are making my world famous polpette. That's meatballs in Italian. And I'm making a 4-pound batch. There's a pound of veal, a pound of pork, a pound of beef, and a pound of Italian sausage. I like it without fennel seeds for this. And no matter how, it could be a 50 or 60 pound batch for a restaurant, but it's always mixed by hand, because if you put it in a mixer with a paddle or a dough hook, it will affect the texture, it will amalgamate it too much, and I think it affects the flavor and texturally the sensation on your palate. So this is how I do it old school, no matter how big the batch. And today is a relatively small batch, and I'm gonna show you how to do it. So I have all my ingredients here. We have cube bread that's stale, right? And I even dry it in the oven at 200, 250 degrees for a half hour. It's gotta be completely crunchy. If there's any moisture in it, you'll have a gummy meatball, which texturally is not correct, right? So you want these to be like air, and I'll show you what to do. We have our meats. We have sauteed onions and garlic, pecorino, and parmigiano cheeses, some parsley, an egg, and that's it. It's that simple, but I'm gonna show you how to make the magic. One of the key things is to really get prepared for this, because once you start, you need all the ingredients handy and readily available, because your hands are gonna get full of the meat. So the first step is to take the plastic wrap and cover your counter, and I just do this, it's pretty simple. And I bring it down and around a little bit to wrap the edge, and then I shingle it. I'm not leaving an inch between, I'm leaving several inches here, because I'm gonna roll and I don't want it to spread open and get all over my counter, right? So this does a couple things. One, it keeps your counter clean, and two, plastic wrap, it's non-stick. So I'll just put 3 of these today for our needs. And then you press the air out. Okay, now the first step is, let's get this started. Again, the bread, I have some nice milk, whole milk, skim milk, whatever you want. I like whole milk. You don't want hard breadcrumbs in this. The purpose of this, you dry them out completely and then you re-moisten them with the milk. And then they're a binder. They're a binder for your meatballs, and they add texture and flavor to it. Mix them around. I'm gonna let these soak. Next step is I'm gonna glove up. You don't have to, you can put your hands, we never did for years. Now we have these things called gloves, and they're everywhere, so I use them because it just makes your hand clean up easier as well. So now you just take the meats, we're gonna put them on the counter. Again, Italian sausage, veal, pork, and beef. Now, I always opt for the more fat the better, because chefs, we love fat. And so you can get like 95 or 90% beef. I don't recommend it. I don't think it makes it as flavorful, because fat is what? It's flavor. It's lots of flavor. Pork the same, veal the same. Veal is pretty much lean what you get ground up. So, and I get, naturally raised meats, and that's what I use, because I think they have better flavor and they're better for you. So here I'm going to add some salt and pepper. Season it well. Lots of cracked pepper. And you want to be aggressive with your seasoning here. It's meat, it can take it. And so the salt, I'm pretty generous with it, but be careful, because you have pecorino cheese and Parmesan. Pecorino is really salty. So I'll start mixing the meats together with my hands, and I'm just squeezing them to mix. See what I'm doing? Start with this step first with the salt and pepper. It's pretty good. Now, I'm going to put in chopped parsley, our onion and garlic mixture that's cold. You want it cold, it cannot be warm. The onions and garlic, I just put extra virgin olive oil and I sweated them. You just want them soft. So I'm going to put a little more milk in this, because it sucked it all up. Again, you don't want this swimming in milk, you just want them to absorb it so that they get light. But you can see they're softening up, and they can crumble. You don't need big cubes in this. Pecorino, Parmigiano, half and half, 50-50 ratio. Mix this in, and then I'll do the same thing. I'm gonna start mixing these in. Here's what I'm gonna do. See this? Excess milk, I squeeze a little bit out. I don't squeeze it like crazy, but I squeeze some out, okay? Again, it's not swimming. You don't see any milk on the bottom of the bowl, except for what I squeeze out, and that's just a little bit. Do this. And now, our egg. Egg binds it, right? You want an egg. Same thing, you're gonna mix it. It's kind of like mixing dough. Look at that, just like dough. It's coming together nicely. All right, there we have it. un polpettone, which means giant meatball. That's what we have. So you can cook it like this if you want to show off at a party. You'd be the talk of the town. Here we are. We're gonna make a tester with this. I want to show you. You can see I'm not using any fancy equipment here. I have a butane burner so you can see what I'm doing. So we're gonna take some of this. I'll put a little olive oil. So I'm not making a meatball, but I'm making a small little patty. And I'm gonna make it thin because I want it to cook quick because I don't want to sit here waiting for a meatball to cook, right? It could take 20 minutes. So I'm gonna make a thin little meatball patty and put it in the oil. So we want to caramelize it. I like getting a little sear on it and testing to see how it's going to taste, right? And a little caramelization, and it's like the anticipation of the first treat, the first bite. Now the idea of this sample is you're doing a little bit to get an idea of what it tastes like. So depending on your meats and what it is, or your cheeses you're using, you'll say, I want more pecorino, I want more parmigiano. The way to tell pecorino is it's got a little bit of a saltier bite, and I like a lot of that in there, and I like the nuttiness of the parmigiano. That's why I blend them, because I don't want just one, I like both. I like it to be a little bit aggressively seasoned, I like a lot of pepper on it, and it should taste balanced. So you want them to taste like meat, but you want them silky and soft as well on your mouth, right? That's what you want. Let's check out our tester here. Just cut into it. Again, this is just to taste, to get an idea of the seasoning, right? Nothing more. And to see how much it may or may not need. It needs more cheese. It needs a little more parm, pecorino. Bread is perfect. Seasonings, I'm gonna put a little salt, a little more pepper. All right, so this is looking great. I just drizzle a pan, some oil, just to a little lubrication there. Now, a couple things. It depends on how you like your meatballs. So you can take these, you can make them into long strips like polpettone and slice them like a meatloaf, or you can do meatballs, small or large. I'll show you the size I like to make, but you can do any size you want. You can make a giant one if you want, a 1 pounder. I do just this scoop here, and this is the size that I like to do. These are about 3 ounces, okay? All right, these are beauties. Okay, so now I'm gonna roast these. I roast them at 425 degrees with the convection fan on it, and I put the convection roast. So convection roast is usually with the salamander, the electric or gas broiler on up top, because I like to caramelize them and brown them really well. If you just put bake on, it won't have that element on. I like the roast, I liked it there. Just watch them. It takes 20, 30 minutes, depending on your oven, your temp, and time. All right, here we are. Meatballs are roasted. You can do however you want. I eat them like this. We put a little parmigiano. We put it on the plate. A little parsley. And these are ready to go. All right, let's give these polpette a try. Wow. Almost as good as my nonas. I got cheese, the texture of the meat, the black pepper, the pecorino. Perfect balance in these. Awesome texture because they're hand mixed and not machine mixed. So they're really succulent and juicy. It's a great meatball experience.